Hi, I'm here with Natalie Kent. This is Karen McMullen for another wake up call. And today we're going to be exploring the topic of how to prepare for 2020. Already, I've been sensing that something new and different is coming. But personally, in my life, I'm just experiencing a lot of instability and unknown. But I sense that that's probably true for more than just myself. So I think today we're going to experiment, and potentially Natalie is going to channel directly from the Arcturians, or she'll just answer from herself. So we'll see what happens. But what do you want to say, Nat?
I want to say if you're feeling the instability, then join the club. So, oh my goodness, I'm feeling it in my body. It's like pumping fire in my body, fire of change with what is coming, and it's happening inside our bodies first and foremost. Before it happens out there, or while it's happening out there, it's happening inside of us. So the more sensitive you are and the more you're saying to 2020 and this 5D frequency, bring it on, the more you're going to be feeling it. So yes, we're doing this today and I'm feeling the brimming fire in my body. So we shall see what comes from that.
Oh, that's interesting. I've been noticing this incredible tension in my neck and shoulders, like gripping. And that's always been my place where I've had tension. But the acuteness of the gripping has me focusing on it. So I'm doing daily work with meditation. I've been using a little bit of plant medicine to help just release those patterns of tension and really work with them, and chanting and movement. So do you think that might be related to what you're talking about?
Yes. But let's talk about the changes that are actually happening in the body, because this is the interesting part. So some of you out there might have already had your Starseed mission awakened. Now, what that means, if you haven't heard the term, it means that you're waking up to why you're really here, why you really came to this planet. You've come from somewhere else and you're going, oh, okay, I get it now. This is why I'm here and I've got to change my life. And in some cases, people have to make drastic changes to awaken and to actually come and do what they need to be doing. So that can mean, relationships breaking up and changing where you live and changing your work, all quite drastically in some cases. Some people are facing health crises and all sorts of things to actually get us reoriented on the path that we need to be on. So what is happening on a physical level is our bodies are going through major changes of awakening. So if you imagine your 5D self, your starseed self, is residing inside your body. It's been living in there dormant since you were born. Because if that's why you came here, it's in there. It's in your tissue. So that little body is trying to come out now. And yet it's got to break off, just like a butterfly coming out of a chrysalis. It's got to break off all the shell and the crud and the programs and all of that old stuff that isn't really who you are. And that can be extremely challenging and uncomfortable, because if you ever have seen a cicada or a butterfly or a moth coming out of its shell, it's struggling. It's like, doing this kind of thing. And eventually when they come out, the wings start to slowly expand and come alive with energy. And very slowly they start to flutter and get used to their new body. It's a complete metamorphosis. So many of us, I'm not saying all of us, but many of us are going through this, and it is a physical change. This is not some energy thing out there and you change your consciousness but you don't change your body. Your body is changing, and the more sensitive you are, the more you may feel that discomfort and the more change you need to make in your physicality. So depending on the health of your body, the state of your body being able to hold that higher frequency, and also the change in your identity. So this is something I've been facing in the last year, is the complete dissolution of my old 3D identity. And some people I know have already gone through that, and it is not easy, and no one can buffer that for you. It's just, it is what it is. It's a transformation and it's uncomfortable. But the more you embrace it, that's why we're talking about this today. The more you embrace it and go, okay, I'm gonna seize my new body, my new life with both hands, whatever that means. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make that transition, the easier it will be. But of course, staying in that state all the time can be quite challenging, because our minds are going, hang on, no, surely these changes aren't necessary. Surely I don't need to uproot and leave my home. Or surely my relationship doesn't need to actually end. It can just change with me. Or surely I can keep my job going and keep my income and all this stuff and not make drastic changes. But if you're not making any drastic changes as you move into this energy and a new identity, then really question that. Yeah. That's a lot to start with anyway. Yeah.
I love it. So what else? Like, where do you want to go from here? Can we talk about what's coming in 2020?
Okay, we can go into another layer now of this. So for some people, the identity change, as I said, can be quite drastic. So who they once were is literally irrelevant now. Not to say that you're not taking, you haven't absorbed life experiences and, goodness and wisdom and whatever from your 3D life, but it may feel like you don't even know who that person is anymore. And who am I now? And what is this? So I'm going to go into other territory here, where this is how I'm starting to understand 5D, is that it's kind of like living in like the virtual reality games and the movies that we've been seeing for some time, where people have supernatural powers, and that is the currency of the new age. So in order to embody and use those supernatural powers, and for that to be your central focus in your life and how you live, then your body has to go through a massive upgrade to hold that higher frequency. Because a lot of 3D practical skills that we've come to, think are essential are not going to be essential in the same way anymore. Not that they're not useful or that they're all going to go out the window. It's just that a lot is going to be created from energy and from these supernatural powers. The ability to change matter, move objects, read people's minds, see through objects, contact people on the other side of the world without any technology involved. So telepathy, like all of this stuff is going to become the norm, and this is your goal. This is your value in society. And this is a whole different realm to all the other skills we've been taught in our lives. So the more you can make that switch and embrace that, the easier this path can be. But yeah, it's challenging because there's no physical evidence of it. There's necessarily, all we have is movies and stories to show us what might come of our future. So yeah, that's going into other territory. I'm not sure if we want to go down that path, but certainly moving into 2020, we are going to get a flavor for this. We are going to get a taste of this stuff that's to come, that our energetic abilities are going to become the focus. And that's what is going to be valued in our society. This is Age of Aquarius, man. It is moving into the weird and wonderful array of angels and energies and aliens and all that cannot be seen. Yeah. So living like a superhero is kind of like a good tagline.
This is really relevant to what I was just channeling this morning. because I've been thinking a lot about, where am I going to live?
Mm-hmm.
Literally, because my partner and I both got notice the same time that we need to leave our house sits. And so I was like, I've kind of been nonstop and thinking practical, like, where am I going to live? And this is what I got in response this morning when I was channeling the Council of Light, which is my Starseed counterpart. We do not operate in linear time. Our creativity and the unfolding of potential is not limited by time, space, or resources. We have so much more creative possibility available to us than you do as a limited human. When you join yourself with us and harmonize with our energies, you are opening up a channel to receiving frequencies that have not yet become common on Earth. These frequencies will open up creative possibilities and pathways that are not possible for most humans. It is simply not how humans create yet. This is the difference between 3D and 5D creations. Your mindset regarding creation is still very much entrained to the 3D human mindset of possibility. This is very limiting, extremely limiting. In contrast, what is possible when you open up to our frequencies is much more expansion, collaboration, beauty, harmony, love, and trust in the unfolding. You will see creation as an unfolding dance of delight. And then I was like, well, what about practical realities, such as the cost of things, the logistics of time and space, and whether or not to do something? Your version of creation sounds impractical with what it actually takes to bring something into form in the physical plane. And basically their message, well, I'll just read the first paragraph. So it says, first, dance with us in the non-physical with what you are creating. See what is possible and bring the energies that we have to transmit down into the physical. Do this every day. Ground our energies into the earth through your body. Be a conduit for our energies to reach the earth plane. Activate others through energy work, grounding our energies into the earth plane through their unique essence. So in essence, it was basically saying that the first step to creating with, in this new way is to just become a conduit for those energies and to really work on grounding those energies in the earth plane, in the body, into the actual earth, into others through energy work. And that transmission, I actually didn't finish channeling the chapter, so I don't know exactly what happens, but I think that's the first step.
Woo! Yep. Mm-hmm. Cool. What can I say is yes, absolutely. I completely agree. It's the same information I've received. It's the same experiences I'm having, which is stop placing any limitations around how you're going to create something or what it's going to look like, and just create it energetically first. Like they say, do that dance of, okay, how would I love this to be? But then don't place any expectations on that. And that's the challenge of the mind, is not going into, well, it has to look like this, because it will not look like exactly what you think. There's always going to be some wild card thrown in there, especially now where all the energies are so volatile, and almost everyone in my life is experiencing major changes and unpredictability about where they're living, what they're doing, can't see around the corner, living day by day. And some of them are loving it and some of them are really freaked out by it, but that's the direction we're going in now into 2020. No expectations, just dreams. Like, have your dream, have your vision, and then open yourself to connecting with the right people to bring that into reality. But also we need to honor the dreams of others in our own dream. It's not just about our own vision. It has to morph and change according to the collective. So, and if it's in service to the collective or to your tribe, then, you know, chances of that coming about with the right people are much higher, because that's the consciousness we're going into. Unity. What is good for me is good for all. Whereas if we become selfish and all myopic in our vision about what we want our own lives to look like, it's just in contradiction to where humanity is going. Yeah. So, body stuff. I just want to say that part of this physical upgrade we're going through is requiring us to access a level of sight and sense that we have never had to access or never been required to access before. So being able to unlock programs and energies in our bodies that we didn't even know were there. We didn't even know they existed. So one thing I've been shown in the body work I've been doing, and also through the channelings, is that there is a membrane that sits around the bone that is beneath the muscle and all the other tissue in the flesh. And that membrane is what contains or holds onto the 3D programs. It's like the 3D matrix inside your body. So of course we often think, oh, well, the 3D, you know, the matrix is out there, but it's actually inside us because we're creating that matrix. So we have to access that membrane in the body and dissolve that or transform that lower frequency energy into a higher frequency, so that we can create from our bodies a new reality, a new matrix, for lack of a better word. So body work is actually, or doing hands-on work with people in your frequency can be really useful, and actually learning, if you're a body worker especially, learning how to do this work to access that membrane. Some of you may already be doing that, but you don't need to be a body worker to be able to do this either. But what I've been shown and what I've experienced is most body work is not accessing that membrane, and therefore if you don't break that 3D program, you can create all sorts of change at the tissue level, but it's not going to change to the degree that we require now. To move into 5D, we actually have to break those old programs of control, limitation, separation.
How do you do it?
How do we do the body work?
Yeah, how do you break the membrane?
Well, it's through, like I said, working with someone who has the same frequency and is able to sense that membrane and combine your energies. So yes, there are other ways of doing it, but through the body work, that's what it is. It's like hands-on. It's not massage necessarily, though it can look like that, but it can literally be hands-on and sensing that membrane and penetrating the membrane with your energy if you're the one doing it on someone else. And then it's like, if you imagine a computer motherboard, it's like injecting a different frequency or a different electrical circuit or energy into that system, and then it starts to fry the old energy and the upgrade can start to occur.
And do you have to do that? I'm imagining the answer is no, but like, do you have to do that through every part, every bone in the body, like going through?
No. So that's a good question though. What I've seen is, and this is where the creator types have been useful, is with the creator types, which is my body-based profiling tool that I use with in the True Ecosystem, where every body follows a particular pattern based on the bone structure and tissue distribution. You can see where the wounds are in the body. So different creator types, like lava tends to be wounds around the chest, soil tends to be wounds around the legs and the hips. You can actually focus energy or focus your attention on those areas of the body because you know from their creator type what to focus on. And
like I can feel my old programs, and as I was tuning into this area earlier today, it was all programs of like work is hard, work hard, Life is hard, burdensome, responsibility, stress, not trusting that there's a bigger plan. All of these things were, those are old programs.
Yep, absolutely. And so, and your neck and the shoulder tension you mentioned, that's one of the wounds of lightning. So your lightning creator type. So neck and heart, because that's the connection to the body. Because lightning, people have this amazing brain and vision and ability to conduct energy, electricity really, from their minds. But then that can happen, the bottleneck can happen here and at the heart. So yeah, that's what we look at, and that's really helpful to know. So you don't necessarily have to unlock the membrane physically through the whole body, because you unlock one place and it has a ripple effect. So yeah, it's powerful work. And I've been doing body work for, sort of on the side, I suppose you would say. It's not my core work, but I've been doing body work for over 10 years, and I've never worked like this before at that membrane level, and seeing the results and sense the energy like I am now, because it's really collective pain that we're holding in that membrane. So collective pain meaning what we have done to each other, what we have done to the earth. How the fuck did this happen? What the fuck happened? How did we get so off course? And if you're not fired up about that, then you're asleep. So that's what this unlocking this membrane is about, is waking us up, waking our protective instinct up, so that we are awake and fired up to create a different course. And we're protective of what is not right, what is being done to people and this planet. So bringing that into the body rather than an ideal, because many people, and even millennials, I see this, they're really mindful and conscious and aware of what is happening to the planet, but you don't see them fired up in their bodies very often about that. In fact, a lot of them just go, oh my God, it's too hard. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to get on a video game. I'm going to, watch movies, whatever it is, to distract them from how the hell do I do anything about this? But really it starts with the body. The body has to fire up, and that's the membrane. The membrane actually starts to turn to gold, and that is 5D frequency.
Sounds awesome.
Sounds awesome, yeah. That's how we become superheroes. Yep. So that's where it's at, and it's also the activation of the channel in the body from the sacral area to the heart. In particular, this is what's been broken down in the body. We've lost that connection. And so when the sacral meets the heart, that's when we become on fire. And that is fierce love. That is protective love of what matters to us. So if we can step into that, that's when things really start to change.
What happens if someone's listening to this and they realize that they're not fired up and that they don't have that channel established?
Good question. The question is, well, what do you really care about? And are you willing to stand for that? And if you're not sure what you care about, then you've got to put yourself in the fray, in a level of some kind of discomfort, to find out what you truly care about. So get off technology, get out of isolation, put yourself with the people, put yourself in nature, take away your food, take away all your comforts. Some people need to lose all their comforts, not everyone. And then actually you find out what you truly care about, what you really believe in, who you really are in this new energy. So all these buffers that humans have created from who they really are what we need to start to take away, so we can come back to that truth. So fasting is one example, you know. God, I even have amazing insights from 36 hours of fasting, just drinking water and that's it. Going out bush and staying in nature. You can do that alone or with other people, but communing with nature. If you are living in isolation, if you're living alone or you're spending a lot of time on your own, then actually being with the people, go and volunteer for people who need your help. You know, like just get yourself out of your comfort zone. And that's when you start to feel your fire. Look at where your comforts are in your life and start to remove them one by one and see what fires up in you. So another example, and I've mentioned this before, is the ice bath, because I've been very afraid of the cold and being cold and not able to heat my body up. So, of course, you do exactly that. Get in an ice bath and then find your fire. That's when you find out what you're made of. Yeah, that's such a great example, so I keep coming back to that. But yeah, if you're not feeling your fire, then you're not uncomfortable enough. You've created too much comfort in your life. You have too much money, too much time, too much physical comforts of food is just a fridge away. You know, like it's just too much of a burden now for us as we're trying to move into a higher frequency. We've got to break that off. It's part of the programming. Does that help?
Yeah, it sounds very unpleasant.
That's the idea. So yeah, in terms of 2020, it's like, okay, it's a bit of both. I see it as these two layers. One is continuing to break down the old limitations, and then also moving into this amazing, magical new way of creating. So that it's like both at once. Yeah.
I just want to talk a little bit about the identity thing, because a couple things. I can see how for someone who hasn't been aligned closely with their Starseed mission, that there would be a huge shift when they wake up to that. For me personally, I feel more that my life has been an ongoing step-by-step culmination of developing myself to be ready for my mission. So all of the gifts that I've been developing my whole adulthood are now all coming together into an integration. So, and I think the difference is that I've been, you know, I woke up to kind of my gifts, my genius. That was my interest. So I spent my whole adult life developing my genius. So I think it can really look different for different people. So there's that piece. But I do sense that there is a shift happening right now, which is that it's no longer acceptable for me to have all these different things that I do, like yoga, dance, coaching, energy work, channeling. They all need to come together now, like into one expression in human design. They need to integrate somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything you want to say about that?
That's the process I see happening in the body, the upgrade, the metamorphosis in the physical body, where the body is becoming who you really are. It's drawing on all those nutrients, all the skills and all the things you've done, all the experiences you've had. They're the nutrients in the soil, and you're drawing from that, and you're creating a new tree. A new tree. You know, your old tree has spawned a new one. So yeah, I think the shock, and I'm the same, you know, I've been releasing a lot of those constraints or 3D worldly things, like my job I released 7 years ago and things like that. And that's been gradual, but I think the shock for me and for other people that I've seen is to realize that they are, to have it wake up in their body that they are from somewhere else, and that mission is in their circuitry. And whether they start channeling like you did, you know, like out of the blue, like, oh my God, suddenly I'm Arterian now. And I've never identified with that or never known anything about that. And here it is. You know, that's that part. It's the clash of the two identities, the 3D and the Starseed, or the 3D and 5D identities. And often even though we may have known that we're not from here, or a lot of people have this, you know, are very aware of, I'm from another place, but they're not necessarily knowing what that identity looks like in this human form, in this life, moving forward. Like, what is it going to do to you to have this information, to have this knowledge? How is it going to change you and change your world that you've created? That's the risk, and that's the unknown, stepping off that cliff. So the void can be very disconcerting in that sense, but absolutely, you're right. You're drawing on a lifetime's worth of wisdom and experience and skills. Great. But it's not necessarily going to look like anything you could possibly ever have imagined. And that's where the mind has a freak out. Yeah. So 2020 really, to me, is stepping into that in a whole new way.
Yeah, and that's what I've been sensing. I think what you just said is exactly it. It's stepping into it in a whole new way and not limiting what it could look like. So yeah, and then the other piece that I wanted to mention that you just also mentioned is, and this has been coming through my channelings, is that it's really important when you're waking up to your starseed mission that to stay awake to it, you need to disidentify as a human and to identify as a starseed. And because it's very easy to just get back into daily life as a human. Like, oh, I need to make money. I need to go buy groceries. I need to, you know, be a wife or whatever. And then you've lost the whole point of the mission. You're not actually in your purpose as a starseed. So I find this is happening for me. Is like so easy to just forget and just get right back into daily life as a human. And so what I channeled is that it's essential to be working with the energy of your starseed origins every day, and to be transmitting that energy. And so they suggested to me that I should start doing energy work with as many people as possible, at least once a day. So I'm transmitting the frequency.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. You know, touch and physical contact is so important now to strengthen our bodies in this new frequency. And when you combine two people together, awesome. So it can be non-sexual touch, or it can be body work. It can just be, you know, being around people and having hugs every day with those people. Like it can look like many things, but it's all about strengthening our immune system for this new world, really, so that we can withstand the changes that are coming and embody more of that golden frequency. Because it's amazing when you start to see, like, I get what you're saying about the Starseed mission waking up, and that's at, you know, the cosmic level. But then how does that translate into your life now? And this is where what I'm looking at now in myself is, okay, yeah, I get the Starseed mission. That's kind of a given now, but what I'm embodying here in the physical is coming from memories of how I've lived on this planet before in ancient times. And so my starseed as an Arterian doesn't necessarily show me that. It doesn't show me the humanness of that. And it is not what I've known in this body, in this life, I can tell you, although there are remnants of who I was once before, but that is what is coming back around, because it's like humanity is back at a point where we've been many, many times before, where we've almost made it to ascension or whatever, for lack of a better word. We've almost made it to 5D, and then we've basically blown ourselves up. We've destroyed ourselves time and time again, and that is in our DNA. That's in our cellular memory. And if we don't want to do that again, then we have to almost wake up those memories inside us to go, oh, okay, here's how I'm going to do it differently now. Or this is who I am in this new world, because I'm picking up where I left off. So I was this person, or I had this lifetime or lifetimes over and over again, and we didn't make it. So I'm picking up where I left off. So how am I going to be different this time? It's a fun quest. But really, it's not something that we find with our minds. It is awakened from the body, and it is awakened by having people around us who are in our frequency, because they help us to remember who we are, or who we were, or who we are in the future, who we are becoming.
Well, that's what I wanted to say something about that, which is, when looking back, I believe that probably the whole reason why I started channeling, because I was channeling before I hung out with you, but I wasn't identifying as a starseed. I was actively skeptical about the whole starseed everything, and really just didn't resonate with it. It was like, okay, well, that's cool, you're an Arcturian, but I don't even remotely see that for myself. But I believe that hanging out with you and being activated in your frequency created an opening in me. And so I've seen this with my energy work, because and just to give context, I never was an energy worker before, but with beginning to receive the transmissions from the Council of Light, they said all starseeds are energy workers, period. All starseeds are energy workers, because energy is just how everything works in that realm. And so we all know, we have embedded within us a knowledge of energy and how it works. So I started doing the energy work on people, and what they told me is it's not just a transmission of energy, it's an activation. So if the person that I'm working with has a starseed connection, then they'll be activating, they have the potential to activate their own direct connection through my activation of sharing that transmission.
Yep. Completely agree. That's what happened for me as well. So it was only when I met two of my Arterian counterparts when I moved to Alice Springs in Australia did I have my awakening of that identity.
Oh, interesting. So it was actually through physically meeting people. People
like I've never met before, I didn't know existed. And so, yeah, that was it for me. And even if you have a family member who is also of the same starseed origin, it's not necessarily going to activate you. You need something to come from the outside in to create that contrast. So yeah, I agree completely. Finding your people, hanging around with your people, or soul family or starseed people, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Well, and it could even just be watching these videos, that could activate someone.
I hope so. That's why we're doing it, right?
Yeah. But I think that's the key for me. I mean, I had a session with a person who said, you are a starseed and you have come here to bring justice globally. And you should try to connect with your starseed origins because you could probably get a lot of support. And that's all it took, was for that person to say that to me and for me to say, oh, okay. And so immediately after that, I just meditated, and all of a sudden I was like, okay, if I'm a starseed and there's someone out there that is my origin, then I'm open to connect. And all of a sudden it was just right there, so vivid, so clear, so direct. And then that connection has been completely available, clear, completely vivid ever since.
Yeah, amazing.
But it takes that willingness. So even if you're watching and you're curious, I mean, just be willing and ask.
Yep.
Ask to connect.
Yeah. And I really look forward to this conversation being ongoing, because it's going to get more and more exciting when you start to see people's 5D identities emerging, and the reorientation or the pivot from the life or who they were before to, oh my God, this is who I became. Look at me now. So yeah. Great.
This is what's happening for me whenever I'm doing an energy healing on someone. Mm-hmm. I first am sensing their energy, and the Council of Light's telling me where to go and what to do. But then immediately I start to get an impression of their energetic signature, of their essence. And, you know, an example, one lawyer in the oil industry that I was doing a session for, her energetic signature of her essence was the most feminine of feminine essences I've ever felt. Like it was completely opposite to everything that she's living right now.
Yes.
She's constantly being told that she needs to be more assertive, and, you know, she's working in the oil industry, destroying the planet. And then another person that I did energy healing for, she was, you know, she's very flamboyant and active and fiery in her personality, and her energetic signature was stardust. It was just space. It was ether with little specks of light, like so spacious, so still. And, you know, for her to really live into that essence, it would destroy her life as it currently exists. Both of them.
Okay, I'm so glad you gave this example, because this is exactly what I'm talking about, the clash of the two identities. And do people actually have the courage to step into this energetic signature, like you say, or are they going to fall back into what they know and what's easy and what's accepted? Because sometimes it can be it seems like a complete identity crisis, like the opposite of what you're doing now, and the mind just starts to go into overdrive and question everything, and then the body shuts down. The body shuts that energy down. So if you're trying to awaken and activate someone's signature, and then the mind goes into, oh my God, I can't see that happening, or no way, boom, shut down.
Well, yeah, I mean, in both examples that I just gave, these people are very successful materially in what they do because of the other identity that they've assumed. So for them to go into this other identity seems like it might very likely result in financial ruin.
Well, the question is, for these people, how can I be successful in this new identity, in this new world? That's a challenge for all of us, really. But particularly for people who are coming from that, you know, super successful position and then having this awakening. And some of them do walk away and they do face, you know, losing everything. And sometimes that's necessary. Others, if they're really savvy and courageous, can do a pivot and create success, start building success in a whole new way. So That's the challenge, man. That's the quest.
I went the financial ruin route, but I'm coming out of it.
You didn't really go into total ruin though, but you
No.
did. But you did do a major pivot. Yeah. Yeah. And that's
and I wouldn't go back to the other way it was. You couldn't pay me enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. Even living a day in that life would be painful.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. Some people need to lose everything, but you don't have to lose everything. It's totally what you need on your path to truly activate your fire in your body. And sometimes, like I said, you take away all the comforts to get to that. Some people have to lose everything. There is no other way for them. Other people, they can do a dip and then rise again.
Yeah, I haven't actually spoken to anyone about what I've been doing with these energy sessions and the channeling for like each individual. But it's actually quite remarkable to sense the incredible diversity of every person's energetic signature and their essence and what they're bringing. And you know, and it makes me so excited because our future is so creative. Like the messages that are coming aren't, you know, you need to grow potatoes. It's, I mean, yes, growing potatoes is probably a part of it for all of us, but it's so much more about the creative and the people embodying their energy, the energy of their essential self.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about that next time, some of the different energetic signatures, because that's fun. Yeah. Just to see some of these new identities emerging, what they look like in the energy world, and then how they might be embodied in the physical. Yeah, that would be fun.
It would be so fun to do a session on you and see what comes.
Yeah, no, we should do that one day. And I'll do a channeling for you.
Yeah. It's been interesting. I've tried doing energy work a couple times on my partner. And it's like there's nothing that comes because it's almost like there's no need for there to be. It's like there's no energy exchange because he's already at that frequency and he doesn't really need energy work. So it's just like there's no message. There's nothing that's coming here.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels pleasant, but there's not the same. He's the only person I've done that on that I haven't felt anything coming through.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you have an understanding of that?
Well, I don't know. I definitely don't read or work on everybody. I'm very selective, put it that way. So, yeah, I don't believe that everyone is meant to read everyone else's body, that we have certain bodies that we're meant to read and the rest is for someone else.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else you want to say to wrap up?
Well, all I can say is there's so many more chapters to this topic because, yeah, it's going to be ongoing in 2020 and it is exciting. And yeah, I just want to give some fire to the people out there who maybe are on the cusp of major change and worrying about, oh my God, how is this going to work out? Or can I really do this? Is this really true for me? What they might be feeling in their body, or they might be shown in a vision or their dreams about what's coming for them. Go for it. Seriously, go for it. Be a superstar of 2020. That's actually a hashtag we have inside our group, is hashtag superstars 2020, because it's the ones who really go for it and don't hold back and just both hands seize the day, grab onto who you really are in 5D and your future that's coming. Let the old drop away.
Wow. Okay, one more question. Do you feel like this year in particular is something new energetically, or is this just like every other New Year's where there's an up level, or there's a shift, or there's a sense that there's an opportunity to embrace a greater reality?
No, I don't feel like it's like any other year, that's for sure. For a start, I feel like most years do a step up, a step up. This feels like a leap. And what I see is the people who are not really embracing where the world is going in this new energy are going to be severely left behind or severely challenged, or basically split off from the people who are creating in that energy. So some people may have witnessed a split so far in their world around the people who are not really moving at the same rate and those who are. That's going to become more and more pronounced. And yeah, we don't have control over what other people choose to do or whether they're really seizing this new energy themselves. We can only do it for us. So I think that's going to be an interesting path. I also see the new energy of 2020 being really, really fertile for testing out new types of inventions and ways of creating. It's really ripe for that. So it's really pushing us into a new creative zone. So we got to run for that, not like walk. It's run for it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.